Philly cheesesteak stuffed green peppers. This is a good recipe. It's a good alternative to the traditional Philly cheesesteak because it's without the bread. So it reduces the amount of calories by a whole lot. So we have 4 green peppers. I use the green ones. You could use red or yellow or orange, whatever you prefer. I have an allergy to the other colors, so I only use green. So we're gonna start off by slicing them down the middle, each one.
Yeah, slice.
Sliced all the way. And by the way, our oven is already preheating to 400 degrees because we're actually gonna bake these twice. So
Oh yeah.
here's the first thing that we're gonna do. I have my sous chef here today. He's gonna be chopping up some mushrooms. We have some yellow onions that we're gonna use. You're gonna need some of the Worcestershire sauce, some salt, some pepper, and some olive oil. And we have a steak in the freezer that we're gonna take out in a little bit. So first thing you wanna do is slice them in half. Benji's gonna get started chopping the mushrooms as I'm chopping the green pepper. Just be careful, Benji, okay? Alright. So as you can see, we're emptying out the middle part of our green pepper so that we can stuff. Yeah, that's fine. So that we can stuff them. Not minced, Benji, just like that. That size that you have them now is good because we're gonna saute them in the pan. Okay. We're taking out this middle part. Makes it easier then to stuff with the steak, the cheese, the onions, and the mushrooms. There's different variations of stuffed peppers that you can make. You can make them like Mexican style with ground beef, tomatoes, corn, beans. We've done that before too. But the one that we're doing today, I was kind of craving Philly cheesesteaks, so I came across this recipe on Pinterest and it looked pretty neat and it's healthy. For anybody who's doing keto or low carb or anything like that, this is a good recipe for that too. So as you can see, just rip out the inside, trying to make it nice and flat, get rid of all the little seeds that are in there. Here we go. Take out this part. I don't know if anybody's watching yet, but if anybody just joins, we're making Philly cheesesteak stuffed green peppers. So it's your traditional Philly cheesesteak inside of a green pepper. So no bread for this recipe, which is good. As you can see, Benji is over there cutting up some mushrooms. We're gonna need the whole amount, the whole bag.
Can do.
Okay. All right. And by the way, the steak that we're using, you could use any kind of steak. We're using top sirloin, and we're just going to slice it very, very thinly. That's the important part in order to get your steak like the Philly cheesesteak style. Okay. Now that we've sliced our green peppers in half, we're going to go ahead and bake them for about 10 minutes to get them nice and ready so that we can stuff them.
Somebody just got on that because it was empty again. If you want to see what you're doing.
Okay. We're making Philly cheesesteak stuffed green peppers. So we just sliced our green peppers in half and we took out the seeds so that they're nice and empty, and now we're just going to bake them for 10 minutes at 400 degrees before we take them back out and we can start stuffing them with all the good stuff. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and put these in. I don't think my oven has hit 400 degrees yet, so we're actually going to put it in a little bit longer so that it gets to the right temperature. All right. So now we have our onions. As you can see, Benji's working on the mushrooms over there. I'm going to go ahead and probably use these last 4 that we have just because they're small. This is a quick recipe that you can do probably in 30 minutes. So we're just going to chop up our onions nice and thin so that we can saute them together with our mushrooms. And the good thing about this recipe also is that it does not require a lot of ingredients. And you could change out the cheese too. We're using provolone, but I guess you could use mozzarella or really any type of cheese that you like, that you have at home, so that you don't have to go out and buy cheese. I've also seen variations of the recipe where they do it with like a chicken fillet instead of steak. They use chicken, so you could do that too. So we're just gonna chop up our onions really quick. The recipe that I looked at for this, they said that you should have the steak in the freezer for about 30 minutes before you use this, just because it's easier to slice thinly when it's like really frozen like that. So mine wasn't like that. Let me actually put it back in until we're ready to chop it. Got a little bit colder. All right, and in terms of our seasoning, it's gonna be very simple: salt, pepper, the Worcestershire sauce, and some olive oil. Oh, Benji, you don't have to wash those, honey. Here, do this.
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, but you don't have to wash the mushrooms, my love.
You just like
Yeah, that's it. Okay? All right. So we're gonna go ahead and slice these as thinly as possible so that when we saute them, number one, they cook quicker, and when we put them in the mushrooms, they also take up less space. Try to get them as thin as you can. Okay, that's one. These are pretty small sized onions. To anybody who just came in, we're making Philly cheesesteak stuffed green peppers. I have my green peppers in the oven. The stove is set at 400 degrees, and I put it in for about 10 minutes.
what else can I do?
All right, Benji's helping me out today. Do me a favor, honey, start throwing all this stuff out. Here you go. So this recipe really is something that comes together relatively quickly. It does not require a lot of ingredients, just the steak. Any type of steak that you like. You're gonna have to be able to slice it very thinly. Onions, mushrooms, provolone cheese, and green peppers. That's it.
What else?
And like I said before, you can use any type of bell pepper. I'm choosing to use green because I'm allergic to the other colors for some reason. And my eyes are getting really watery because of the onions. Never fails. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and put some of our olive oil on here and heat up our pan. Let me not turn it on yet. We still have to cut the steak, Benji. Okay, chopping our onions. All right. Hi to everyone. Hi, Marty. Thank you for saying hi to Benji. All right, we're separating all of these. Nice and good.
Thank you.
Let's
Marty.
go ahead and turn the heat on. High heat. The onions are the ones that are gonna take the longest to cook because you kind of want to get them like caramelized, and that takes a while. So we're not quite gonna get there because I'm gonna spend 30 to 40 minutes cooking the onions, but they'll be nice and cooked by the time we go to bake them. You want to separate them as much as possible before we throw them in. Okay, this is a lot of onions right here. This is a good amount. All right, Benji already did our mushrooms. Let's go ahead and take out the steak.
This is my prized possession here. And mushrooms. I chopped it nice.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and take out our steak so that we can slice it nice and thin.
Slice. What else can I do, Mom?
That's it for right now. I told you this was an easy recipe. Here,
Yeah, I see
throw
that.
this out.
It's an easy but delicious.
All right, so this steak has some fat on it. You can take it out and it'll be a little bit healthier if you'd like to. You don't have to, you can leave it on, but You know, if you want to take out some
Fat
of it.
gives taste.
It does give it more flavor, but you know, this is kind of like a healthier recipe because we're not using the bread that you would normally use for the cheesesteaks. So let's go with that and take some of this fat out. All right, good amount. Now you want to slice it as thin as possible, keeping in mind that when you cook it, it's also going to shrink in size. So this is probably a good, if the camera can get that, that's probably the thickness that you want it, really, really thin. And this is just one steak that I got because we're gonna slice it up real nice for 4 green peppers. And the green peppers, I cut them in half. I can hear them sizzling already in the oven. Because once you add the mushrooms and the onions, it's gonna yield a lot more for the stuffing for these mushrooms. I'm probably gonna have leftover now that I think about it, which is fine. Okay. And I think they sell in Publix already the steak kind of chopped up like this. I should have thought of that, but it's all right. We can cut it. It's still a little bit too thick. Just trying to get it as thin as possible. So anybody who's new in the group, we're making Philly cheesesteak stuffed green peppers. I'll post the video at the end once we're done. So if you join late, you'll see it in a little while. We're just cutting our steak nice and thin. This one has a lot of fat, so we're gonna kind of cut through that. Gotta get rid of some of that. Why don't you do that over there, honey, on the couch?
Oh, it's weird. It didn't let me like her comment.
Hmm?
Now somebody put in a comment. I wanted to like it because I liked other comments.
Oh. Thank you guys for your comments and for whoever's watching too. This is gonna be a yummy recipe. This would also be good to do on weeknights because you can make it pretty quick. And it's healthy and it's filling. All right, so we're cutting our steak. It's coming along. Trying to cut it as thin as possible. There you go. That's a good one. That's really nice and thin. That's kind of like how you want it.
Pete, there's like 4 people in there now that weren't there before.
All right, guys. So for those of you that just came into the live, we're doing Philly cheesesteak stuffed green peppers. The ingredients that you need for this is your favorite type of steak. We're using sirloin just because you can cut it nice and thin and it's easy to work with. Green peppers that we sliced in half, and we'll have them in the oven right now at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. We have some mushrooms that Benjamin chopped earlier and some onions. And then provolone cheese that we're going to put on top so that we can top it once we put them back in the oven. Right now we're getting our steak sliced as thin as possible, taking off some of the extra fat. I'm going to leave a little bit of it, but the majority of it I'm taking off. Okay. And once you put this in the pan, keep in mind that the steak does shrink because it releases the water. And then in terms of seasonings, all you're going to need is some salt, some pepper, and some of our Leanne Perry's Worcestershire sauce. I kind of always say that wrong, but there it is. You guys can see it. Right. Now, some people make this recipe with a cheese sauce instead of just the provolone cheese on top. You could do that too. That would just require you to do the butter and flour mixture first and then add the provolone until it starts melting and some milk. You could do that if you prefer. I'm not going to do all that today. I'm just going to put the provolone on top before we put it in the oven. Okay, so we're getting our steak nice and thin. Our oil is hot enough, so we're going to go ahead and add our onions because these are the ones that are going to take the longest. have lots of onions. It's gonna taste really yummy. And I'm not reading your comments, guys, so I'm not sure if you're asking questions, but
No.
I will post the video at the end. And I'm also gonna post it on my YouTube channel, which I haven't posted on in about 2 weeks. I'll add it onto there as well. Okay. I think we've pretty much removed all the fat that we can. You could also do this stuffed peppers version. We're doing it with steak because we're doing the Philly cheesesteak, but you could also do it like with chicken, and you can do a chicken Philly. That's a healthier option if you were looking also. It's pretty healthy as it is because we're not using the bread, so it's kind of considered like a keto recipe, but you can always just do it the traditional way with the hoagie rolls, and that would be just as good as well. Just finishing up slicing this, getting the last bit of meat that we can get off, taking off the fat. There we go. All right. So this is a good amount of steak. Once we cook it, let's go ahead and season it a little bit. Let's see if my bowl is here. Oh. Alright, so we're going to put our meat so that we can season it.
Oh, your sister Daylene is watching.
Hola Dailin, ¿cómo estás? Estamos haciendo unos ají verde relleno de Philly cheesesteak, que es la carne con cebolla, hongo y queso provolone. So anybody else who's watching, we're doing stuffed Philly cheesesteak, stuffed peppers. It's a quick recipe, it's a healthy recipe, and there's so many different versions to make it, so I hope you guys enjoy it. The best part, in my opinion, is that it comes together very quickly with very little ingredients. It's just literally steak, mushrooms, onions, green pepper, and cheese. So you won't spend a lot of time putting a bunch of stuff together. And Benji loves it, so I hope your kids, if you guys are making it at home for kids, they love it too. Alright, so these onions are coming along. Let's give them a quick mix.
She wrote, "Qué rico."
Yeah, you'll see at the end. It's going to look really nice at the end. Alright, let's leave these on here. We can keep seasoning our steak. Now, this probably has a lot of sodium as it is. Actually, it's not bad. I was going to be a little bit cognizant of how much I put because we're going to add salt to it too, but I feel like for this sauce, a little bit goes a long way. So just put a little bit. You don't have to put too much. It gives it good flavor. I'm going to put a little bit of salt. Because remember, the cheese is going to have salt also. And then a little bit of pepper. Okay. I'm going to mix that. Mix it all up. Put a tiny bit more.
Daylene is telling you to put red pepper.
Oh, Daylin, yo no puedo comerme el ají rojo. Yo tengo alergia. Ni el rojo, ni el amarillo, ni el anaranjado. Solamente puedo comer el ají verde. No sé por qué, pero tengo alergia. So, I would love to put red peppers in it, but I can't, guys. I'm allergic. So, green peppers it is. But I encourage you, if you want to use red peppers, please, by all means, use green peppers. Right. Check these out. Those are cooking nicely in there. You see how they're sliced in half? We're going to leave them for about another 4 minutes, which is what the timer says. In the meantime, our onions are coming out nice. Smells good in here, right? And this is something that you don't really have to make a side dish with. I guess if you really wanted to. I mean, a Philly cheesesteak, they probably serve it with like French fries, curly fries, tater tots, something like that. You could make it with that, but we're not doing any of that today. We're kind of keeping it healthy. Alright, so let's put our sauces back, spices.
Smells good.
Just so you guys know, we used an entire package of mushrooms, 4 onions, four small onions, I would say, 4 green bell peppers, and 1 large sirloin steak, cut very thinly. And then we have the provolone cheese that we're gonna add at the end as well. In terms of our seasoning, just salt and pepper to taste, and some Worcestershire sauce, probably about, if I had to gauge it, I would say like 2 tablespoons is probably what I put in the meat. But I kind of just sprinkled it. I didn't really measure too much.
People, there's like 6 people now, so I don't. Then they're like all new.
All right, so the new people who just joined, we're making Philly cheesesteak stuffed green peppers. So here we have the onions that I sliced very thinly. They're sautéing. We have our steak that we sliced very thinly, just with salt and pepper. Worcestershire sauce. We're gonna saute it with the olive oil. And then we have our chopped mushrooms that Benji went ahead and chopped a whole package of white mushrooms for me. And we're gonna top it with provolone cheese. And then in the oven, we have our sliced green peppers that we're baking first so that we can stuff them afterwards with the meat and everything else. Now, the recipe calls for the onions to be caramelized, which takes a long time. It takes about 30 to 40 minutes. If you have the time and you wanted to do that, you could certainly do that just with butter, olive oil, and leave it cooking there for about 30-40 minutes. If you don't have the time, don't stress it. I'm not going to cook the onions for 30 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and get them nice and soft, and then probably add the mushrooms right about now. It's a good point to add them. Okay. This is a very healthy recipe, low carb. Technically, it's kind of like a keto recipe. Now that we're adding more to our pan, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more olive oil and a little bit of salt to the mushrooms as well. Just a little bit, just not much. I was kind of craving this. I think I saw a Philly cheesesteak on somebody's Facebook timeline. And I was like, man, that looks really good. So, and it comes together very quickly, so you don't have to worry about cooking for an hour or anything like that. All right, we're gonna let that cook a little bit. And remember, it doesn't have to be cooked fully through because you are gonna put it back in the oven eventually. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me get my spoon.
Look what I did. This is going to be at the bottom.
Oh, nice. All right. So our veggies are browning beautifully. And our peppers are about to be ready right now. So we're going to go ahead and take them out. It has 30 seconds left. We can take them out already. All right. So now you're going to see how nice they look. They are ready to be stuffed with our mixture. So this is very hot. Make sure that you don't let your kids do this part. All right. Now, some of the water was, if you look closely, some of these have water in them. That's just because of the heat. So I'm going to go ahead and just take them one by one and get rid of the water. Because we don't want them to be soggy either. Okay, so we'll let them dry out over here. And thanks to everybody who's watching, guys. I hope you end up liking this recipe and you can make it at home. Stuffed Philly cheesesteak peppers. Just getting all the water out. You can make different versions of this. You can do like a Mexican version. You can do, even, I've seen even like pizza versions. You can stuff it with like the red sauce, mozzarella cheese, pepperoni, whatever toppings you like. So it's very versatile. You can make a lot of different things with it. We're going to keep our oven at 400 because we're going to put these back in for like another 15 minutes afterwards. Alright, so this is getting like a very nice color. This is what the filling is going to look like. So while that's cooking, we still have our meat up next. And then the meat is probably the one that cooks the fastest. All we did was add salt, pepper, and Worcestershire sauce to it. And then let's open up our cheese package. We're using provolone cheese. I'm going to need scissors for this. This is just regular Publix brand provolone cheese. Nothing fancy. You could do a cheese sauce like I mentioned earlier, or you could just do the regular provolone cheese. And again, you want to let this cook as much as possible to get all of the water out. Mushrooms, they do have a lot of water, so it's important to cook as long as you can so that it evaporates as much as possible. Otherwise, you're going to end up with soggy green peppers, and you don't want that. I'm cooking basically on high heat right now. Okay. So this is a good amount. Let's go ahead also and add our meat, our steak. Okay. I'm gonna cook this also. This was gonna cook probably faster than everything else. Plus it's gonna go back in the oven after, so it'll finish cooking in there. The important part is to get the steak nice, thinly sliced, as thin as possible. This probably could have been even thinner, but I did the best I could. So here we are. Let's see who's watching, who's in here. Hi Rachel, hi Maribel.
How do we know?
I'm not sure. It says 6, but
Yeah, but I can't tell.
I don't know. I think people come in and out.
Yeah, they have.
All right. Rachel, if you're still watching, we're making Philly cheesesteak stuffed green peppers. And it's keto, so it's pretty healthy, I guess. If you're vegan, you could always change the steak for jackfruit or for like a tofurkey or any type of meat alternative.
Substitute, yeah.
Meat substitute. Okay, we're going to go ahead and incorporate the mushrooms together with the steak. Looks pretty good, right?
Yep.
I got tired of eating chicken like every single day. That gets pretty old. We're probably just going to let this cook for like another minute or two and then just go ahead and stuff our peppers because it is going to continue cooking in the oven for about 15 minutes. And it already looks and smells really good. Alright, actually good. Okay, so next step. Now with this, let's see what the best way, because you don't want to get any of the liquid. So let me actually drain it first before we serve it. Get all the liquid out of here that was released from the steak and the mushrooms. It's pretty good. All right. We turned our heat off already. Go ahead and stuff these like so. And I didn't even measure to see if this was going to be enough for all of them, so I hope. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that we have to fill up. Some of them are bigger than others, so it's going to require a little bit more. Like this one I'm putting 2. I'm being a little careful at first. And then if I have extra, I'll fill them up even more on the second round. Right, so anybody watching, we're finishing up. We're just stuffing them before putting them back in the oven. This is our stuffed green pepper. Philly cheesesteak stuffed green peppers. That's what we're doing. And we have the perfect amount. This was just 1 large sirloin steak, 4 green peppers, 1 carton of mushrooms, and 4 small onions. And this is enough to feed a good amount of people. We're just going back and kind of topping them. As we're topping them, we'll go ahead and fill up the ones that didn't have that much. Just wanted to make sure we had enough for all of them before I put too much in one of them. Kind of kills the craving. And it is much, much healthier. Alright, now we'll go ahead and put our cheese, 1 slice of cheese for each one. On top. Bake it for an extra 15 minutes. You can even put it less if you want to, because it was already in for 10 minutes a little while ago. Woo, it's really hot. Okay. Here we go. It's perfect. All right, back in the oven. For about 15 minutes, and we'll go live again once they're done so that you guys can see how it comes out. But for right now, we'll see you in a little while.
So just hit finish?
Yeah.